So they brought in Marcus Mariota, who finally gets a chance to start, presumably. I guess let's start there. Do you see Marcus Mariota starting? And if so, how many games do you think he'll start? Do you think he'll start the whole season, or do you think they'll let the rookie have a shot just to see what they've got in him before the draft next year? Because it's supposed to be a great quarterback draft the next off season. So what are your thoughts there, Jake?
Spoiler alert, they both play. I think that's exactly what we're looking at. And we're looking at close to a 50-50 split from my perspective. I think it gives them every advantage in the world to start off with Marcus Mariota and just to see what happens. What kind of season is this going to be? Are we going to luck out with some wins here and there and maybe try and scrounge our way to a playoff? And if not, you have an experienced veteran quarterback who can help all of the young guys on the team now build. Kyle Pitts included, who had an amazing rookie season, but you don't want him to lose faith and have sort of an Evan Ingram turn of events where you start off flaming hot and just kind of the team around him starts to crater. Players lose confidence, whatever. Same with the rookie Drake London. Like, you want to see this guy who you've invested very highly in. You want to see what he has. And I'm not saying Desmond Ridder can't do good things, but Desmond Ridder is not Marcus Mariota at this standpoint. I actually really like his long-term outlook, especially for fantasy, because I do think that he will be a bit of a dual threat dude. But I think it's stupid not to start Marcus Mariota for at least, the first handful, if not the first half of the season.
Yeah, I agree. I think, Ridder is probably going to need some time to get familiar with the offense and the speed of the NFL game. I mean, he went in the third round, not the first round draft capital that we like to see for quarterbacks. So, yeah, but we didn't see any of the quarterbacks go really high except for Pickett. So it's, third round, though. We've seen other third round quarterbacks do well, Russell Wilson being the highlight there. But yeah, I do think they give him a chance this season because let's be honest, they're not going to be competing for anything. They're just not. I just don't see it. So at some point they'll give him the nod and see what they've got in him. I think, the worst thing that happens is they lose more games. And they get a better draft pick, to get one of these stud quarterbacks coming out this next year. So, yeah, I do think both of them start. I'm guessing it'll probably be, not quite halfway through the season, and Ridder will get the nod. I don't see, unless Mariota is really super efficient and doing actually really, really well, then maybe they hold off. But I mean, if they're losing games and they're not super competitive, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't want to start Ridder just to see what you've got.
So then let me throw this out to you. If we're close to being the same, about essentially a 50-50 split, right, let's say for the season, close to it. So does one of these quarterbacks actually help the rest of the fantasy assets more than the other? I have some borderline thoughts on this, but I'm very curious. Would you rather have Kyle Pitts with Marcus Mariota or with Desmond Ridder? Or do you care? Does it matter to you?
I don't care because I honestly don't think either of these quarterbacks are the long-term solution for the team. That they needed a backup quarterback. Why not draft one in the third? Granted they have other holes, but it's okay, take someone that could possibly turn out to be a thing and we'll give them a chance to play and see what happens. If not, okay, we wasted a third round pick and then we'll draft a quarterback early next season. I don't think it helps. I don't think it helps or hurts fantasy wise for Kyle Pitts or Cordarrelle Patterson or whoever else on the team. I don't think it really matters.
I think there's only one guy that I want Mariota starting for, and it's Kyle Pitts. I want that for him. Both of the quarterbacks do actually have, I think, an underrated rushing aspect to them. Marcus Mariota is no slouch in that department, especially as he gets into the red zone. Like,
Mhm.
I don't know if you recall that he can do anything in the red zone. Do you remember that game where Marcus Mariota threw a touchdown to himself, where it bounced off of a dude, he caught it and just took it in himself? He can do anything in the red zone. But historically, Marcus Mariota and tight ends have gone together very well. Like Delaney Walker had some of his best years in his
That's
career
fair.
with Marcus Mariota at a later stage, thanks in part to, I don't think it was the scheme, because the scheme was basically the same before Mariota got there. But once Mariota was in Tennessee, good things happened for Delaney Walker. I guess the counter argument is that Kyle Pitts isn't really a tight end, so maybe that doesn't mean anything here, but I would much rather have Mariota just for Pitts.